The other day, I was indulging in a pastime of mine, that being watching pretentious video essays here on YouTube, and I stumbled upon the Puppy Hellic Triangle's criticism, of All Iron Talks' criticism, of Joseph Anderson's criticism of the video game The Witness. The Puppy Hellic Triangle is a side channel of musician and YouTuber Patricia Taxxon, and the video in question is pretty okay. It calls out All Iron Talks for lying about completing a puzzle in the game, which is quite embarrassingly funny, and it rips on Matthew Matosis at Home, Joseph Anderson quite well. But in this video, Patricia uses some unusual terminology.
This whole response has this teeth-grinding contradiction. Like, on one paw, Joseph Anderson is too stupid to understand a smart person game.
The use of the term paw instead of hand, along with the ransona they use, you could probably see where this is going. But this is not just a standard furry creator. With what is so widely spread on the internet for people to see nowadays, I don't think that would be that interesting. This creator, it turns out, is far more peculiar. Unfortunately for everyone, Patricia is a chronic oversharer, and now I would like to share some of my findings. Before we get into it, I think this person's content is quite unusual, but that's where it starts and stops with me. I don't want this video to be a call out for this creator. I'm merely reviewing their content in the hopes of making an interesting piece of entertainment. Like the video we saw before, they mostly do pretentious lefty art stuff. To be fair to them, I haven't watched their entire videography, but they seem fairly well read up on the content that they discuss on their channels. Something such as the sound effects in Peggle 2 are always in key, is extremely to the point, and reasonably interesting.
So, I proceeded to look up some no-commentary footage of Peggle 2 for research, and yes, the peg-hitting sound effects adaptively tuned to the soundtrack's key. Bjorn's theme begins in the key of G major, but midway through this shot, the song borrows a little from A major too, and the scale adjusts accordingly.
But then what do we have here? Am I Therian? When looking up what a Therian is, but you can find a very brief Wikipedia entry saying, a Therian is a member of the contemporary subculture of Therianthropy, a subcommunity of Otherkin which is based on a physiological identification with animals. In Patricia's case, they suffer from a type of species dysphoria, making them think that they are a dog.
I find myself more mobile in my own mind when I conceptualize myself as a dog. My memories of youth are more real when I understand that I was just a puppy. Me and my closest friends have noted doggish elements to my personality, for better or for worse. I chew on things, I'm incredibly sensitive to sounds and smells, and furthermore, I have been known to bark sometimes.
And they also say that because of this dysphoria, they want to be seen as a dog.
Ultimately, I feel like I won't be happy as long as neurotypical people are able to recognize me as being the same species as them. So, yeah, all this animal behavior may be ultimately explainable by human psychological phenomena, but at the end of the day, I think I should have been born a dog.
In a podcast they work on, they discuss how at a younger age they started to think this because they desperately wanted to be a character from Studio Ghibli's Pom Poko.
When I was young, I did also have genuine romantic feelings for this Tanuki. I loved him. I wanted to smooch him. I wanted to hold that smelly little gremlin very much. And I also thought I was him as well.
So this explains the ransona and why they use animal vocabulary to describe themselves. Patricia is not only a Therian, but they are also a furry. In this video, they discuss their interest in macro furry art. This being having a certain interest and pleasure of the idea of furries being so gigantic, they would be able to crush a building.
Cutesy and intimate macro art certainly exists, but it's a new niche in a big pond. This piece takes the idea of macro intimacy and runs with it all the way to the bank.
In this video, they also discuss Clifford the Big Red Dog, and they make the point that they think realism is not great for this kind of thing, which is somewhat relieving. One thing to note about this video is Patricia seems to enjoy talking about the gigantic furry in the picture as if they were real.
He reassures us he is warm, and I believe him wholeheartedly. He looks like he's been carefully placed into the environment, and yet I could never believe him to be meaningfully affected by it.
And in the next video, Patricia goes so far to anthropomorphize Rambly the raccoon from indie horror game Indigo Park. Patricia seems to believe that Rambly is a real-world entity. You can see from the title, Patricia phrases this infatuation as "I love him," as opposed to "I love this character."
This is Rambly the Raccoon. I love him very much. It is known that I have a type, and it's this. I like his voice, I like how he's animated, I like that he's literally the first time any of these fucking mascot horror games has included something that I can imagine kids enjoying at some point in time. I like that he calls me buddy. I want to be his friend. I want to kiss him with tongue. I want to rest my head on his lap and beg him for treats. I want him to put his adorable conductor hat on and order me around. I desire him carnally, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
This isn't the only comment Patricia has made about Rambly. The next video in this series, if you want to call it that, is just further rambling for their actual love of the cartoon character.
Rambly the Raccoon specifically belongs with me. No one loves him the way I do, in universe or out. It feels like he was produced from the bottom up to appeal to me specifically, like they plucked him right out of the maladaptive daydreams I had when I was young.
The third video displays much more of the same fantastical thinking, and this time they've gone to the extent of writing a Tumblr fanfic about the character that is frankly far too long for me to look through.
I want to be in his universe and make out with him sloppy style. I also want to be in the game's universe, Earth, and experience irreconcilable tragedy at the nature of our parallel realities. The only way these two fantasies can coexist is as two different endings of a linear story, and I've written it all down with the help of famous MLP artist Brayburned and default Tumblr user Educario.
And the fourth video is titled Reality Check. In this video, they disclose that they had a crying fit because of their obsession with this character.
I wasn't putting anything on. I actually got exactly that passionate about this character in real life as you saw in those last videos. I'm not in the business of exaggerating my emotions for the sake of a YouTube video. I really did get overwhelmed with feelings for this fictional character, and I did eventually end up bringing myself into a crying fit because of the sad story I made up for him.
And even though they admit this, they still finish the video using language to anthropomorphize the character.
I had to do my good ending in real life, in a sense. I hope Rambly isn't too upset that I left him behind, but maybe with time I can find the secret ending where he gets to grow alongside me and gain autonomy for himself, and be let free onto the internet so he can visit me sometimes without needing to depend on me, because I think we both deserve more.
Which brings us to the most recent video on the Puppy Hellic Triangle channel, titled Am I Plural? In this video, they share that they have a second furry persona in their head, and they discuss them as if they were real.
For a while, I had this other persona in my head. I didn't really know why she was there, but I called her Amber, and suddenly I realized that she had pronouns, preferences, different opinions on my friends, and I could halfway remember times that I had been her or had been triggered into becoming her. Then I was her, and I remembered times that I had been triggered into becoming me, the dog.
So I think the case is they currently identify as a dog and an anthropomorphized furry. This is seemingly confirmed by the comments, as when referring to Patricia, people are using the terminology "you guys." There is a video on Patricia's main channel in the same theme as what we've been covering today, called On the Ethics of Bonking Animal People. We won't be thoroughly covering this video today, as I couldn't quite stomach it. There are a few clips here that made me tap out.
And as much as I would like for every stranger to just intuitively recognize that I'm the sort of creature that they're allowed to touch and pet whenever they want, the optics of saying that are not good. By all means, err on the side of dehumanizing. It's only a problem when it's combined with a sense of overfamiliarity. Like, any dog would react poorly to some human they don't know smothering them. But if I already know you, if we're friends, then I'm your dog. I'm your dog. On all levels except physical, I am your dog.
And I'd just like to tack on this to the end here. Funnily enough, at one point in time, Patricia used to have inappropriate messages with the subject of one of my previous videos, that being Vosh. Let's have a quick look at this tweet thread. Patricia writes, "Can Vosh stay the f off my dash for one day? I swear every time he pops up in a shitty new pathetic drama, I get flashbacks of interacting with him and I hate it. I do not deserve to have so many emotions wrapped up in this drama-mongering man-child. Despite everything, I still miss him. I want him back, but he won't shut up. This probably looks really funny from the outside, but I want to cry. And that does it for today. Please like the video and subscribe, as it will really help me out, and there are going to be lots more videos coming soon on this channel. Thanks for watching.